You're listening to the RMPodcast, the official podcast of Red Moon Productions. Here are your hosts, Brandon Davidson, Keith Cheatham, and Sean Sebastian. Enjoy.
Hello and welcome to yet again another episode of the Red Moon Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host, Sean Sebastian, and
Keith Cheatham.
Happy New Year! Yes, we're starting
Not
another
yet.
year.
Not the new year yet.
It's not. It's December 28th.
It'll be soon though.
We're ticking away. Klaus is still here.
I'm ignoring her. She should be gone.
This is the last festive.
This,
Look at that.
Look at this. Do you
That's
see how
beautiful.
beautiful this is?
That's
a good
beautiful.
friend got us these.
Who could that good friend be? Huh? Is he right there to your left?
No, he's to my right.
To his right.
Whoops. Well, he's to my left.
It's like, oh look,
Hey,
it's Keith. Keith is the good friend that got it for me.
another great gift that was given to us by our friend Jacob.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow, you don't care about him.
Well, that was an old gift. This is a new one. Now, in a week, if I get any more gifts, then this one won't be. No. Actually, I am really enjoying.
He's
this.
just telling it like it
It's
is.
like it's.
I gotta give a shout out for one. Thank you, Sean, to the wonderful gift that is the mug. Got me one and a couple of cigars.
And the cigars. Don't
I already
forget the
enjoyed
cigars.
one of them tonight.
Now the travel mug is great.
Yeah, that's
This is-
fantastic.
Your dog is licking my shoe, and I don't know why.
Do you have something on that shoe?
Not that I know of.
Keith's enjoying his coffee, and my dog is enjoying your shoe.
I'll tell you what.
Stop.
I'm burning myself on the top.
She's still doing it. Come here, Edie.
Yes.
Like, I mean,
Gosh,
I
come
know I
here.
haven't had it very long,
It's
but I
okay,
swear
bud.
this thing's
Come
keeping
here.
it hotter than the mugs do because I keep burning myself on it. I don't normally have that problem with the cup.
Well, I'm glad it
No.
works.
So
All I know is this
Great.
is going to be the last week, yes,
this might be my new favorite.
that
travel
you will
mug.
see these festive decorations that we have.
Yeah.
Of
Will
course,
it?
we're still in the
Will
Christmas
it?
season.
I want to see if you actually take
What?
it all down by next week.
Oh, I have to. I mean, it's a new year. I got to do that.
Okay.
I can't say the decorations in the rest of my home will be taken down by then,
Yeah.
but these will.
Okay.
To at least coincide
That's
with
fair enough.
our live audience.
Should we still wear these for
No,
our final
I-
Christmas
Absolutely.
I
if you want.
refuse. I'm not doing it.
And Sean had enough trouble last week doing his. But, those look beautiful. Just beautiful. Oh, he's going to wear all three.
review? Yeah.
If you don't have a migraine by the end of this show,
I mean, they're not very tight.
they're not.
No.
I think the helmet of hair that you've got will
Yeah.
do some good protecting.
it helps.
You gotta adjust the camera though to see. See, you gotta offset them too, so you can see all of them. That's beautiful. Just beautiful.
They're saying,
I'm not gonna lie.
Fit that way.
I'm gonna
good
let you all
coffee.
do a majority of the talking
Okay.
because nothing to be alarmed about.
I just thought you were actually going to let us talk for once. I was getting excited.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude. He said that before, and then yet he ends up talking a lot.
It's so true. Every
It was
time
like
I do
one
it,
week, it was like, I'm sick, I've been throwing up, and I'm probably not going to talk, and then he doesn't shut up.
Just keeps going.
that is true. Every time I throw out the disclaimer, I talk
It's
more.
like
Yeah.
it's like our only Twitch user. You know, it's
Yeah.
it's like one guy starts talking and he goes, "F you, it's my turn to talk now." Greatest quote we've gotten so far.
I just want to alert everybody I don't have Omicron, but it's like
How do you
70
know?
degrees
You
on
can't-
December
you can't
28th in
test for-
Louisville,
You
Kentucky.
can't test for Omicron.
What?
You don't know.
Oh, they don't have the test ready?
They don't have a test for the
That's
Omicron
right.
variant.
You're right. So
Wow.
I'm just going by God's good humor. It's been warm as heck throughout the whole month.
It has.
And it's the
has.
changing of the weather. It feels like it's spring.
Did we
It's
beat
weird.
the record? Did we hit 70,
Yeah,
70 on
60.
Christmas?
Well, here's the weird thing.
the record
68,
was 68.
but that was in 2019.
Yeah.
And then we just beat it by 2 degrees at 70 on
telling you.
Christmas
Global
Day.
warming. Every
People
Christmas
just-
is getting 2
There
degrees
it is.
hotter.
People just won't look up.
You could give us your informal review of that movie
Oh, if,
later.
if I'm allowed, I will.
Oh, you're allowed.
I don't think
my
there'll
God.
be any surprises as to what we think of that movie.
Well, we still have 2 reviews and the informal review now.
Yeah.
So do we want to?
Let's get to it.
I know we got to jump right into it. So you all want to set up the review? Of course, it's a big one on the
Oh
block
yeah,
this week.
I mean, here's Matrix Resurrections.
You do that every damn time.
Well, you asked me to set it up and wouldn't do
Wow.
it, and he's never ready.
The following is a review by Keith Cheatham. Over 20 years ago, the world was introduced to the Matrix. The year was 1999, and the new millennium loomed near. Household computers and the internet were taking off, and society as a whole was shifting into the digital age. With The Matrix brought plenty of psychological questions surrounding reality and technology. The first film is still regarded as a near masterpiece by some, and the best of the series, which launched a trilogy that produced a critically and commercially successful sequel, The Matrix Reloaded, and still commercially successful, if not critically successful, end with The Matrix Revolutions. Now, one half of the Wachowski siblings returns to the world they created with the fourth entry, The Matrix Resurrections. Directed by Lana Wachowski and featuring the return of Keanu Reeves as Neo and Carrie-Anne Moss as Trinity, The Matrix Resurrections revisits the franchise in an attempt at righting some wrongs done by the original sequels, and of course offers all new meta-commentary on the state of current culture and reality, while also being an obvious cash grab by Warner Brothers. This film is getting a mixed reception from both critics and audiences, and while some gripes I can completely agree with, in my opinion, Resurrections may in fact be the best sequel to the original film. It definitely honors the themes and ideas of the original better than Reloaded and Revolutions. It does so, however, in fresh ways, with new social commentary that is in line and just as meta as the original. In fact, Matrix Resurrections isn't afraid of going more meta than the first, acknowledging itself as another reboot made to earn its studio, Warner Brothers, which is even name-dropped in the film itself, more money. This tongue-in-cheek take on being forced to make a sequel while still being a sequel may be a little too on the nose for some viewers, but as the movie itself says, if you're forced to make a reboot, you might as well do a good job of it, and I argue Matrix Resurrections does. Reeves and Moss pick up their roles easily, and the film honors the past movies, throwing in nostalgia and Easter eggs, but still tells its own story. Newcomers such as Neil Patrick Harris shine as the newest villain, while old characters such as Morpheus and Mr. Smith are not forgotten, even if their roles in the film aren't what viewers are expecting. In fact, the movie does a great job of subverting expectations, and I think this is what is causing the most ire amongst fans. In recent years, subverting expectations has grown to become taboo in franchise films, The Last Jedi being the most famous example of how it can be done poorly. Resurrections even makes jokes about how reboots sell, and people just want the same old, same old. Yet subverting expectations isn't a bad thing when done well. And again, I argue that Matrix Resurrections does this well. Yes, there is less action than Reloaded and Revolutions. The film takes the more cerebral approach of the first, and I think this is for the best. A lot of the deeper questions and metaphors get muddied by the Matrix sequels, as by the end of those films, audiences want a more definitive answer to the war against the machines. Revolutions always felt like the Wachowskis wrote themselves into a corner and didn't know how to end the series. Resurrections now offers a nice epilogue to the series centered around the same themes of truth, that also gives answers to what Neo managed to accomplish at the end of Revolutions, while setting the stage to once again be an allegory for freeing one's mind. No, it's not perfect. Some of the designs for new machines come off as goofy, and sometimes Resurrections is a tad too on the nose with its meta-commentary, or attempts at nostalgia. But overall, I still feel this film feels more like a direct sequel to the first than Reloaded and Revolutions do. I give The Matrix Resurrections 3 out of 4 stars. There you have it. 3 out of 4 stars for Matrix Revolutions.
Yeah.
Resurrections.
Reloaded. Matrix Reloaded.
I had to do it. I had to poke fun at Keith a little bit.
Matrix Reloaded.
Just
Brandon
a
had to
little
re-record
funny
the
note.
review.
That's why I was on there. You heard my lovely, raspy voice.
I Ron Burgundied it, and
he did.
in the review, like
If you
I
put
don't know if it
on
was
that
autocorrect
prompter,
or if I just typed it
he
wrong.
will read it.
But every instance of Resurrections said Revolutions, and I read it that exact way. And then Brandon texted me today and was like, can you send me the review after re-record it? Every time you mention Matrix Resurrections, you call it Matrix
Well, and I'm sitting here.
Revolutions.
At first, it was like the first time it popped up, I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, I'll wait till he says it again. And I can cut it and try to make it, blend it together somehow.
Right.
By the 5th time that he said Revolutions, I'm like, there's no way
There's
I can
no
fix
way.
this.
It'd be like
I can't do it.
Every time it'd just be this cut of Matrix Resurrections. Matrix Resurrections.
Move your butt.
Yes,
Yeah,
It'd be like,
exactly.
yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon. That's my favorite.
Wow.
But no, let's talk about this. I think we're kind of in the minority of a lot of people with regards to giving it 3 out of 4 stars.
I would say
it's mixed.
It's really is. If you look at critics and audience scores, like it's right there hovering around the 60 range. So it really is almost like a 50-50. You either like it or you don't. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
It's a kind of a.
And we obviously erred on the side of liking it.
Well, me and you did. I'm not sure.
I think Sean. That's
Sean
right.
didn't care for
Sean
it. Yeah.
was not in that boat.
I felt it was more of a direct sequel to the first than the other two, as far as continuing some of the themes. I felt like the themes of reality and such get muddied a little bit in the 2 sequels because then they become more focused on some of the action and the war against the machines. And I like the way this kind of brought it back to
The Matrix.
showing people the truth and freeing their minds. And I like it as far as that basic concept. I know that could be twisted depending on your viewpoint, but the movie doesn't go there. Like I won't say, it doesn't really go into any politics of it. It's just the basic. There is truth,
Right.
and you can free people's minds to the truth.
Yes.
Now, I know some people are like, well, my truth is the truth, and it's like, but
Well, and
the
actually
movie doesn't get into all that.
No.
But it does certify, I would think, in the story it's telling at least, that there is a truth.
Yes,
And I do agree with that message. Again, they don't pinpoint exactly what the truth is.
Yes.
They leave that open to interpretation.
which is fine.
Again, they fill in enough gaps and they have enough story elements with regards to the philosophical questions they raise in the first trilogy and then, of course, in this following it. And I like the way you kind of put it after we left the theater. You said, it's kind of a nice epilogue to the first trilogy, because really the first trilogy starts off with this really profound, what if the Matrix is real and we're just living in a simulation kind of, thought process. And it leads more into, okay, once Neo's mind is free,
Yep.
they want to go back and free other people in the Matrix, but then it also becomes this war on the real city of Zion in this battle. And the climax of the third film, Revolutions, just really kind of left it hollow based on all of the other philosophical questions they raise. So I felt like this one at least gets back to the nuts and bolts of, no, the whole premise and point of this film series was to raise the question of finding that truth and at least coming to terms with how do you discover it, and at least being willing to wake people up and be honest and bring forth an honest discussion and not keep people held back. And I thought at least the message, the streamline through this film, certified, regardless of what may be out there in the ether and even what the director, says themselves, I at least come down on the side of this movie pointing to, hey, the truth is out there and we trust the people to find it.
The truth is out there.
The truth is out there.
That's X-Files.
I
Yeah,
love
that's
it.
what I was
I love
thinking.
it.
X-Files.
Another great series.
Sean.
Well, I guess I'm dumb
No.
because
This is your
I
arrival.
still see these films, all of them as a whole, a very simplistic, not so deep philosophical story. The truth is, artificial intelligence overtakes humanity, imprisons us all, enslaves us all in a false reality.
Yeah.
And so the truth is that we're living in the Matrix until we're set free.
Yeah.
Once you're set free and
True.
you're no longer in the Matrix anymore, the battle is fought in the real world, which is what I loved about the first 3 movies. I did feel like the first movie gives you the Matrix. It gives you a little bit of outside the Matrix. The second movie tiptoes back in because of the mission that's at hand. The third movie is a war that's no longer being fought entirely in the Matrix. Now the war has to be finished outside of the Matrix, otherwise it will always exist.
And I agree with that.
And this movie, I'm not done yet.
Oh, go ahead.
This movie definitely does kind of fill in what possibly happened after Neo's sacrifice at the end of the third movie. I don't feel like it needed any more. I was satisfied with the end of the third film. But I don't want to say that I really liked the fourth movie, but I appreciate that they were willing to go back and fill it in and do it in a way that doesn't feel disconnected from the first 3. It does feel very well connected, and they did it in a way that I appreciate, but I never really felt like I needed any more explanation.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I agree with everything you said, but the way the third one ends, like the war, they just had a stalemate, and they said, well, it'll start back up eventually. And that's why I was
Right.
dissatisfied, because I was like, well, then his sacrifice didn't resolve anything. They still have the Matrix. The only thing it did is it gave people the option to choose to leave the Matrix if they wanted to. And that's why I appreciated this one, going back to, well, these people that chose to stay in the Matrix, now we're going to show them what it means to have your mind free, so maybe they will finally leave. And I just kind of liked that little epilogue.
And
Well,
it is good. Oh, no, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that to me was the crux of the film. It was freedom to choose.
Yeah.
And for me, what I enjoyed about it was the fact that it at least liberated or it went back to the central core message of allowing the people in the Matrix to have the ability to free their minds. And of course, that main ultimate threat at the end of the trilogy, which was ultimately unsatisfying, is, well, if we leave it up to the machines again, which I think is a very, whether it's machines or human nature, the very real essence of going back to evil and going back to having control and power over people is going to be a real threat. And this brought forth the idea of, we have our very hero from the first trilogy instituted into that threat. And now he is having to live in this world of blindness and being trapped and having to overcome that all again. And ultimately, I also enjoyed how they did kind of tie in the message of the love that overcomes between the man and the woman, who is Neo and Trinity, that break through this barrier almost to an extent of making it seem like, okay, this is the threshold that carried them beyond and allowed them to see through all of the blindness. And I just thought it was a beautiful message, again, whether the director had that intent or not. Overall, I think compared to what the other three set out to do, getting back to the core of, okay, there's still the necessity of allowing these people to choose for themselves is the deeper meaning of, okay, the philosophical questions we raised in the original trilogy are still there. I don't think it was ever the Matrix's job to answer those. Now, people, I think, back in the day, rightfully so, were led astray into somehow believing that was the case. I think that they kind of set up a red herring when they came out with the original Matrix and then followed it up with the other two of kind of leading audiences to believe they were going to answer these profound questions throughout the trilogy, and they didn't. But I don't really, and I think this one kind of took that step back and say, you're missing the point. That was never really the whole message of the trilogy. It really was the center of, no, allowing people to choose outside in the real world instead of being trapped into this mundane cycle of life that means nothing.
Yeah, no.
And I thought that, at least that poignant message of finding identity and finding value in the life you live is something that I think is very well told throughout this story.
And I'm not saying that it's not. I do agree with the messages that were in this film, and I do find them to be agreeable. My point is, the film, in my opinion, was not a necessary film. It's okay. It's not the best, but I don't feel like it was necessary. At the end of the third film, the architect sitting there and telling the Oracle, we'll see how long this peace will last. I think that right there, philosophically, that's humanity.
Yeah.
There's never going to be peace,
That's
and that
fair
was
too,
true.
yeah.
I was pointing out the fact that even if we're given the option of freedom, we're still going to
Some people
screw it up
choose-
someday.
choose not
no,
to
I mean
have
just
it, yeah.
humanity. We screw things up. We
Yeah.
get a lot right, but we also get a lot wrong. We're destined to just keep screwing up. If you want to go back to a religious side of it, look at us. We are destined to sin and rebel against a God. We're also destined to just ruin kind of everything. And that is what I felt like the end of the third movie was pointing out. It left me with the assumption that they're going to go back inside. They're going to be given the option to either leave or stay. He clearly makes it a point that some people were probably just going to choose to stay.
Oh, yeah.
No,
And
yeah.
I think Cypher in the first movie is the perfect example
Yes.
of that, because he's like, why would I go out here and live and eat slop
Yep.
in a cold, dark, abysmal world when I can live as a millionaire eating steak every day
Yep.
in the Matrix? Either way, I'm going to live and die. Why not just die plugged into this thing and die happy?
Why not live
And
the blissful life? Yeah.
I honestly can't disagree with him to a certain extent. But if that was the only world that I was offered with, I wouldn't want to live in it. I'd rather just stay. And that's kind of, I feel like at the end of the third movie, it just leaves you at that point. There's going to be a choice. That's part of the truce, is people will have a choice. Some will choose to stay, some will leave. And ultimately, the machines know us better than we know ourselves. and they know that we're probably going to screw it up again someday.
Yeah.
And I was satisfied with that. It's not really a happy ending.
Well,
It's
and
an
again,
ending
that's kind of the architect's message as well. Is the whole point of the architect and the idea of the machines was that, well, they know better than we do anyway. And
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
to come up with the perfect calculation, which was, well, all humans really exist for is to give us the energy we need to exist, because we ultimately are creating this perfect reality. So give them something their minds can live in, but ultimately, when it comes to us being the machines we are and soaking up the energy, and again,
And I was.
oh, go ahead.
I was
No,
just
no,
gonna
go
say, I
ahead.
was going to go back to his point, and I do agree in that sense, because really, I mean, the way this new one ends, it's kind of the same thing. They're still just going to give these people the choice. Only now they're like, we're going to try to show them, but at the end of the day, it's still their choice to stay or leave. But I would say, going back to why this film exists in the first place, as far as whether it was necessary or not, was because Warner Brothers was going to do it whether the Wachowskis did or not. In fact, they
they
threatened.
put that in the movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they put that in the,
I
and
know.
that's a true story. Like the
Yeah.
Wachowskis said, they said we're going to make this fourth one, and either you can make it or we'll make it with someone else.
And I'm glad they. Well,
one of them.
I'm glad one of them did.
One of them said.
One of they did.
Yeah, one of them said. Yeah, one of them said no, I don't want to go back there, and refused. And the other one's like, well, no, I don't want it to be done without at least one of our involvement. So
I very much believe that if it had been done without the Wachowskis,
yeah.
then it probably would have been
Worse,
a worse
yeah.
film. I mean, ultimately, I sided at 2.5. I couldn't go 3. Again, it's a movie that I actually have watched it twice. I watched it on HBO.
It was made
2 nights
available
ago.
day and date.
So I did watch it because I was really tired the night we went and saw it. It didn't start till 11 o'clock. I had been up all day, so I honestly slept through the first 30 minutes of that movie.
That to me was the most important
I
part.
found it kind of boring. But when I watched it the second time and was able to pay attention a little bit
and
more,
I'll give you.
I agree that the start does set things up a little bit better.
Well, and I think you brought it up in your review too, Keith, and I would agree. This definitely takes a much more tonal shift from the last two entries in the trilogy, which were much more action packed and action oriented.
There's not very
I
much
think
action.
the
in this
first movie
Yeah.
was more even handed,
Yes.
in the sense that it had bits of both,
Yes.
and it had really good pacing and really good build up. And again, that's why it's considered the masterpiece. But ultimately, I still think that, again, with I think the disappointment of the last two for fans, this one, and again, it seems to be divisive between fans, for them to have been faced with, hey, we're going to do this without you, or you have a chance to come back and kind of put your stamp on it. I at least appreciated the stamp of approval they did put on it, and I thought
While
the
making
changes.
fun of Warner Brothers.
Yeah, well,
And of course, Warner Brothers don't care. They still got their movie.
That's right.
well, exactly, and it goes to show you too that the reason why they were able to make that jab is because exactly that they
Yeah.
knew they were going to get their payday regardless, and ultimately, it does kind of showcase exactly what the point of the movie is in that regard, only in that one section. It doesn't carry throughout the whole film, and I was glad of that, because at first it seemed like a tongue-in-cheek kind of humorous jab, a meta joke of breaking of the fourth wall, but they carry it through and they actually make it make sense so that it's not just a low-hanging fruit that they can easily punch, because we've
means
seen
something
this
more than
before.
just a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've seen it in other movies a dozen times,
yeah.
but again, it made sense within the world of the Matrix
I don't
and the
disagree
world that
with
was
that.
created.
Yeah.
And I've heard people kind of bash it and say it's laughable, and I'm like, in what way? I'm like, it fits perfectly within the
The
realm
only
of possibility.
thing about this film that I don't feel like fit with the original 3 was Trinity in her role. I do feel like the original 3 did set Neo up to be the one, the only one with the power to overcome the Matrix, to move and do things in the Matrix that others can't do. And this film kind of throws that on the back burner, and now it's all about love and their love for one another, and she ends up being more powerful than him by the end of the movie. And I really felt like Trinity was given, and I'm okay if that's the direction they want to go, especially if they might do more than just
I really
this film.
hope they don't, honestly.
But
I don't either. I hope
But
they
again, I felt like they took the whole thing of Neo being like this, dare I say, a Christ-like figure, and being the one that there's been all kinds of prophecies about him. There hasn't been a single prophecy about Trinity,
But there's been
other than she
multiple-
was going to meet the one, and that's what I enjoyed about the first 3 movies, was that Trinity was just a person.
Yeah,
And
but they
Neo
do break
was this-
down.
So the architect said there's been more than one. Every version of the Matrix has had a one. It's a failsafe to help reboot the Matrix.
Well, but he is
Right,
but he's the one
But
every time.
he is the one every time.
because that's the number
it-
7
yeah,
version of
Trinity
Neo
is
when he
not
meets the architect.
Well,
one.
I didn't know if they really imply because he
They
does
do,
what
because
none of
he-
the
yes,
others
yeah,
don't
yeah,
do. They do show all the screens. at
Yeah,
the
exactly.
beginning.
And
Yeah.
he's like,
But
and
he
not only that,
actually
but he even
actually
mentions
leaves,
to
though.
himself. He says,
I mean,
he's like,
even Neo's
I gave
name-
myself this hint.
Neo's
Yeah.
name
Yeah.
spells the one.
Yeah,
It spells
yeah.
one.
Right.
So,
but I think I do agree with that. I think they lessen. I don't know if they lessen his virtue. I thought they did that honestly in the last film, in Revolutions.
Well-
Because I thought ultimately the
That'll be the fifth one.
Revelations.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and people are hoping for it.
Yeah.
But it's like I do think that they built that up and tore that down in the first trilogy, and to me, I didn't like that in the first trilogy, because I was like, okay, well now you're tearing down. I mean, when the one ends up, his grand scheme is, I brought peace, and that's what I'm here to offer. And that ends up being this piece that lasts for a certain amount of time, and that's it. But then, of course, we pick up in this one right away, and you've got Bugs, the new main kind of protagonist, chasing after trying to find Neo. And it's like, but what I love about him in this one is, again, he still has the prophecy and the legacy behind him of what he did accomplish, to the extent that it's like he's still the only person that can awake Trinity and that can awaken the Matrix to get out and to try to break free of the chains that bind them.
Yeah.
And it's like her whole mission in the beginning when she finds Morpheus again is, I've been looking for him and I've seen these little trails that he's been leaving, that he's the one who leaves the door open in the very world that he now is trapped in. So it's like he had this ability in and of himself of being the one to prophesize, okay, I know I'm going to go into this world. Eventually it's going to get recreated. I'm going to be stuck in it. I've got to leave a back door so that even I can get out. And that's kind of where this film picks up. And so I still think they do a good job of, he's just a weaker version, but only because he doesn't have his full strength. He's not the Neo he was when he had ascertained that level of I guess, oneness.
No, and
you
I
know?
understand. Again, if they did go the route with more films, I can see his power evolving through the three, just like in the original trilogy. By the end, again, what makes him the one is not only what he can do in the Matrix, it's the fact that he can do those things outside of the Matrix as well. So he's a human being with superpowers, basically, outside. That's how he puts his hand up and stops all the machines at the end of the third film. Like,
How he can see when he's blind.
he can see when he's blind. He is something outside as well, and I think that's where his power is above and beyond everyone else's within the Matrix. But in this one, again, they kind of put Trinity even being the first one to be able to fly before him. So again, the one is, we're talking about the Neo that went up against Morpheus in their very first fight and kicked his ass by the end of the fight, and it's like he doesn't need to be taught. It comes natural. And in this film, I felt like they took that away a little bit, and then by the end, she's ultimately discovering power before he does. And I get that maybe it hasn't fully awakened, but she's not supposed to have it at all. Morpheus even can't fly or anything
but who
like that
awakens
in the
it in
original.
her? I mean, I would argue that he does.
Well,
I think
that's
that's
what this film definitely points towards. But again, that doesn't fit with any of the other three movies.
Well, and I kind of like that subtlety
other than maybe
of,
Morpheus awakening his power as the one. But then again, at some point very early on, Morpheus realizes, I'm an ant compared to Neo.
Right.
And in this film, I never felt that way. So
True.
I don't feel like he was the one as much as he is in the other films.
That's fair enough.
That's fair.
That does not
I mean,
make it a bad film.
I think the movie does have its problems. That's why I gave it 3. Like, I mean, definitely some of the new machine designs I thought were goofy.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yes.
There's some little, and even I thought
that-
some of the nostalgic throwbacks to some. I thought they were trying too hard to cater to the fans of the original 3, but I just like, no offense to those, 20 years is still just not long enough, I guess, to feel that, I need that itch of take me back there.
Yeah.
Because they're still, I mean, yeah,
This ain't
I guess
Ghostbusters.
yeah, right.
You
I mean,
know?
you're talking 30 years there
Yeah.
at least.
I think maybe if they had nailed the ending, because I mean, Matrix 1 was loved, and people like Reloaded's not hated by any means. It was a good sequel, but then Revolution's kind of really was divisive as well, where a lot of people didn't like it and how it wrapped up. So I think if it had nailed the end, like if it had been Return of the King for The Matrix, people would have been clamoring to go back there. But I think it just kind of fizzled out, and people just didn't care anymore.
Which again is, I think, Lana Wachowski's way of also saying, yeah, see, I really didn't want to be here either.
Possibly.
But all right, we could go talk in circles about.
Yeah.
But here,
we
by
still
all
have
means,
one more naughty review.
We do. We're going to give y'all another naughty Christmas review. That's right.
Final
naughty. It is our final one. But hey, by all means, email us. Click on our social links down there at the bottom of the screen. Like, share, subscribe. Tell us what your thoughts are on Matrix.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, check it out on HBO Max.
Yeah,
because you can still stream it. I think until January 21st
or go see it in the theater and stop seeing Spider-Man. It's already broke $1 billion.
Unfortunately, they put this movie out the wrong freaking week.
Yeah,
they absolutely did.
Yeah.
I really do think it would have been monstrous had they.
I think so too.
Put it out at a different time, even before. I mean, perhaps before
to go back to the Matrix. I hated that line.
I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was tasteful. I hated it in the trailer. It made sense in the movie. But all right, let's move on. Yes, to our last naughty Christmas review. Here is our beloved review of Jack Frost.
Yeah. Alas, Christmas is over, but isn't that all the more reason to be a little naughty? Yes, we still have one final naughty Christmas review, and we saved the best for last. Or, well, maybe not the best, but definitely the one with the largest cult following. This week, we review Jack Frost. No, not the Michael Keaton family film that came out in 1998. No, the Jack Frost I speak of is the cult classic, straight-to-video B-movie that actually released 1 year earlier in 1997. Directed by Michael Cooney and starring Scott McDonald as Jack Frost, the movie begins with a voiceover during the opening credits of a grandparent telling a child a sadistic story of the serial killer Jack Frost, who after the credits is being escorted to his execution when he manages to escape, causing the truck escorting him to crash into a truck full of genetic chemicals, which turns Jack into a killer snowman. Jack then continues his murderous reign as an unsuspecting snowman, and the horror and comedy ensues. Jack Frost is definitely the most ridiculous film we reviewed this season, with terrible writing, acting, and special effects. It's a true blue straight-to-video B-movie if there ever was one, but that is also part of its charm. Its title character is over the top and outlandish, and so are the various kills. Plot lines, such as the chemical that creates Jack being created to store people's souls, as it was discovered a person's soul resides in their DNA, are dumb and ridiculous, but do offer up a dumbass explanation for how Jack becomes a snowman. And honestly, we aren't here to watch a movie that makes sense or has logic. We're here to see a snowman kill people, and boy does he. Throw in some nudity and we've got ourselves a B-horror masterpiece. Jack Frost will never be remembered as an iconic film and shouldn't be. It's not good by any means, but it is fun. More fun than Santa's Sleigh or The Ginger Dead Man. Because it's not afraid to be as ridiculous as possible. It's easy to see why it's built the cult following it has, and while I still won't rate it highly, I'll happily meet it halfway in the middle. I give Jack Frost 2 out of 4 stars.
There you have it. 2 out of 4 stars for that abysmal.
I'll admit
know.
I'm giving it a pass, but I had a lot of fun. It's a terrible movie, but that's why I loved it. I just thought it was terrible on a whole nother level from Santa's Sleigh or Ginger Dead Man, and I just had more fun because it was so much more terrible.
I don't know why I found this. Maybe it was because I had a sore throat, and I was just it was a slog to get through.
Yeah,
but I wasn't bored. I just thought, wow, this is terrible.
It is.
It is dumb. It's
absolutely.
1 star. And plus,
I gave it 1.
I don't know why, but I remember going to, it must have been Hollywood Video when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And I always wanted to get a horror film. I don't know why, but I was always into horror movies when we went, but I could never get any of them because they were always rated R. Yeah. But I remember this one actually had a holographic case, where it showed the friendly, lovely snowman, and then you turn it, it's that one that you see on the
one that you never see in the movie. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna get there because that's one of my biggest complaints. I gave it 1 out of 4 stars because I was like, I never could watch it as a kid, even though that cover always attracted me, thinking, "Oh, this will be cool, Jack Frost."
I bet if you'd watched it as a kid, you would have loved it.
I probably would have. And then my taste in movies would be completely different.
I don't know.
I would have loved Arrival.
I liked a lot of movies like that. Well, I did love Arrival, so maybe there we go. I liked Arrival. I don't love Arrival.
Yeah,
But no,
definitely not love it.
Sean, what about you? What'd you think?
No, I gave it 1 also.
Okay.
I will say though, again, like yes, it is entertaining. Like there are some parts that are funny and just really it's not even like it's not really funny. It's like
supposed to be funny.
I can't believe this is happening, so I'm
Yes.
gonna laugh. Like it's but I can't I gotta rate the movie based on the movie and not how it sits with all the other naughty
okay.
Christmas.
It's
Like,
weird.
it is what it is, and it's a terrible movie.
Like The
Yeah.
Room was trying to be a serious movie, and it fails on every level, and that's why
Yes.
it's a great
Yes.
B-movie classic.
Yeah.
Same with something like The Toxic Avenger.
yes,
Trauma Films,
too.
Yeah.
Troll 2.
Yeah.
This movie, I felt like it tried, but it didn't go so far
Yeah.
that that's why it fell short for me.
Well, I think
like
for-
there wasn't enough to keep. Like there's funny moments, like when they're chasing them down with the damn hair dryers. I
Yeah.
thought
Yeah.
this is so stupid.
Yes.
The antifreeze oatmeal.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, it was dumb. What'd you put in them? I put antifreeze in them. Like what? Who makes who? No kid just goes grabs
He
antifreeze.
didn't
No.
want his
Like, what?
dad.
I'm like,
he didn't
what?
want his dad to get cold.
So stupid. And then he's
that's
like,
why I love it.
"Son, you're a genius."
Exactly.
So bad.
It reminds me of pulp horror because they intentionally are like that horror, like that's stupid, and people love it, and that's why like I enjoyed it because it's like it's just dumb and fun.
yeah. But see, like again, Troll 2 is a cult classic for a reason.
Yep.
And Toxic Avenger.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Oh, those are definitely better.
Those are cult classics for a
Well,
reason.
this is a huge cult following, so
It is.
Oh yeah, people loved
Jesus.
it.
I guess.
That's why where a lot of some of the horror like with Full Moon Features like took inspiration from because this was so popular in the 90s as just a cult B movie.
That's the thing. I really wanted it to. I mean, and I was like, I didn't even need the whole. He gets chemicals on his body and dissolves into the snow. I didn't even
the soul's
need that.
in your DNA, man.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't
They
need
did-
any of that setup.
They went way far.
None.
Yeah, I agree. It's
I was like, I wanted to see a snowman
chemicals
killing people.
Chemicals
Yeah.
was enough.
Yeah.
It's like that explained it enough. But the fact that they went into they designed this for like was it World War II or the Holocaust?
Something, some
It was bad.
stupid reason.
And I was
yeah.
just
I don't
in
even
case there's
remember.
ever another Holocaust, we could save people's lives. And I'm just like, what?
It was no.
None of it makes sense.
I honestly was like, I knew from the very get go of the movie, I was like, oh, they're not even gonna really try.
No.
like this is
Just
bad.
the very beginning with like the tell me a and it's
No,
that terrible
gosh.
fake
It's
fake
terrible.
child. Tell me a bedtime story.
Yes.
I'll tell you want a happy story or
I
a
mean, it literally starts out like a Disney Channel original
I was
movie.
dying laughing.
That's what it started out.
I was
like.
dying laughing from the very beginning when he's just like, you want a happy story or a scary? And he just tells this sadistic, messed up story to this child.
Well, what I hate
And
though
I'm
is
this
like
is so messed up and stupid.
the unrealistic, and she's like, "Oh, this isn't nice," and he's like, "I know it's not. Now listen."
That's exactly.
And I'm like, "This is."
That's
so
what I loved about it. It's not supposed to be realistic. He's just like, just shut up. And he's like, just so horrible to this child. And I'm like, this is awful, but great.
I guess.
What's funny is when I was searching for the film because I couldn't get Keith's Plex. I don't
Yeah.
know why I thought it was on there. I thought you
No.
had all of them on there, but when I was searching for it, of course, I have Apple TV, so I'm telling Siri to
Find Jack
find
Frost.
it, and of course, it brings up
Michael Keaton.
this movie and then Michael Keaton movie right beside it,
yeah.
and I'm just like, I almost was
Wanted
like,
to
I'm
watch
just
the
gonna
Michael
watch
Keaton.
the Michael Keaton.
We
one.
need to review that one.
It's
one year. We
bad,
haven't
but
done it yet.
it's got to be better than this. And I wished I would have watched it because
I just think Michael Keaton
It actually
as a snowman.
it pulls at the heartstrings
what's
a little bit.
odd is I saw like a screenshot and I was like, "Holy crap!" This kitten, Michael Keaton's came out a year later.
And it
the
looks-
snowman
It looks
like him.
dead up
The
the same.
Got, like the
Spec- yeah.
eyebrows.
Yes.
that look like
the
his and
special
everything.
effects in the one that came out a year later with Michael Keaton is so much better than the special effects in this
Well,
one.
of course, because they had
Yeah.
a little bit of a budget.
Yeah, but still,
and they
it's
were
just
able to
funny.
get Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
If Michael Keaton would have been in this, it would have been better.
Yeah, it would have been funnier.
I mean, Jack Frost
Oh,
would have been
true.
much
if
better.
they had done nothing different, just had Michael Keaton as it would have been funnier.
Alrighty, guys, there you have it. Our final naughty Christmas
that's
review.
it. It's not very good, but
2 out of
some
4
of you all
stars.
might watch it. You might like it.
I guess now we should get into our headlines. Let's roll that beautiful open. was beautiful.
I wanted
I
to
got
try
the-
something different this
Got
time.
the dog all upset again.
wanted to try
Oh,
something
she wanted to
different.
come over there. She wants to see you.
She's
She-
just
is she
looking
wagging
for
her
some-
tail?
She's just looking
Wagging.
for
She's
some-
always looking for some attention. Oh,
She
she's leaving the
wagging it.
room now.
No, she's like, I'm
She's
out.
done.
We're not giving her the attention she wants right now.
Nope. But we will give our headlines some attention.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it, guys.
Yeah.
End of the year.
Same headline we have every year.
What was and is to come. I kind of wanted to mix it up a little bit
No. I mean,
because
you're
we
fine.
always talk about what's to come, but we never really talked about the year that was.
Well, the year that was kind of sucked. So
Well, damn. Okay. Yeah. Well, let's talk about it. I mean, were there any highlights from movies this year?
This is our
Spider-Man.
I say Spider-Man. It's breaking $1 billion, so we know it. That
headline.
people are loving it.
I'm not seeing this headline anywhere on here.
It's all it is a link to the movies that
yeah,
are
it's
coming out.
what's
Okay.
come next year, and it has all the. But I mean, yeah, I mean there were more. I mean, I know you'll disagree, but I mean, I like Dune. We liked Matrix, Spider-Man. I like Shang-Chi. There were a handful. It's just there weren't. And granted, it's not like we had a huge line of releases this year because of delays, anyways. But
now
still,
I know why, because my notes haven't updated
oh
yet.
man, that'll do it.
Apple, gotta love them.
But I mean, yeah,
There we go.
I felt like, I mean, especially the beginning of the year when you had like Godzilla, Zack Snyder's Justice League, Zack Snyder's zombie whatever movie, freaking Chaos Walking. There was just a lot of
Oh, chaos!
there
Walking.
was just a lot of mediocre.
Army of the Dead.
Army. That was it.
Yeah.
Army of the Dead.
yeah. That was terrible.
The Chris Pratt
Snyder Cut.
sci-fi movie on Amazon. That one was just kind of mediocre.
Tomorrow
The
War.
Tomorrow
yeah.
War. It's
I don't even
terrible.
remember their names because they were all just they weren't. And I mean,
Well,
no,
but-
I
okay,
don't wanna
but
say
what-
they were all bad, but a lot of them were just mediocre.
But what you're mentioning is a huge shift in the industry that I
That
think is going to
streaming.
sustain.
Yeah.
Be sustained next year, and that's streaming. Just confirmed recently this week, the Batman will release on HBO Max 30 days after it's theatrical.
Yeah.
Which we already knew through deals that this isn't a shock.
Yeah.
But it just goes to prove and show you that while they may be listening to fans and the movie industry cry out about day and date release, they're still sticking to, well, we want it on streaming as fast as possible
There's
because we know
shorter- yeah.
people benefit from it.
shorter
Yeah.
of theatrical
And
window.
I don't mind 30 days.
I don't either.
I mean, good Lord, if you haven't seen it in a month, then you didn't want to see it.
Yeah, but I don't know. You got to think about. I mean, granted, I'm going to throw this out there because playing devil's advocate, that was kind of the argument with the West Side Story crowd. A lot of the critics were saying Spielberg knew this was going to come out and have a slow start. He knew it was a packed month. He's hoping that people will not be scared of Omicron or COVID in the next couple months. And if it stays in there longer, it'll maybe build up some momentum and have a strong back end.
It's also got to have good word of mouth.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that movie doesn't have it.
And that's what I was like, how many months do they plan on staying in there? Because this month's so packed that if you don't go see Spider-Man this month, maybe next month you go see Kingsman. It's like you go keep it in there for 3 months when everything dies down, but then by then
Well, I
you
think
have big blockers picking up
It's
again.
proven in the second weekend, most people are still going to see Spider-Man.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Everybody's seeing Spider-Man this month. Maybe they'll go see some of these other movies next month, but then as you get further on, there's new releases.
Let's talk about that,
So-
though. I mean, this was the return of the MCU. We missed it all last year.
Hell, it was
this
the return
year-
of the billion-dollar movie.
Blockbuster, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is
The
the
true blockbuster.
first one in what, 2 years?
Yeah.
That's hit $1 billion.
2019, Rise of Skywalker
Yeah.
was
Yep.
the last billion-dollar film.
Yep, everything else has been so stagnant, and I mean they had theaters shut down for such a large chunk of time. But yeah, I mean Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and definitely not Eternals because it.
Yeah.
But I mean all those movies they did well considering.
Still, even their series.
yeah.
The Disney Plus series. You have WandaVision, you have Hawkeye, you have Falcon
Well, I
and
was
the
just
Winter
talking about
Soldier.
block like
Well,
the
but I'm
gross,
just
how much
saying,
they
like,
brought in.
The reason, the return. I'm just talking about the year in general, though, and the return of Marvel was, I think, a huge stake for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
to get enthralled and back into
Well, I
the
was
movie
just
going experience.
comparing their box office numbers.
Oh,
which
I
is why-
gotcha.
That's why I wasn't mentioning Disney Plus because they don't have them. But I mean, it's like when you look at like
Excuse
the
me.
3 that released before Spider-Man, they did well. Everybody was like, "Oh, for a pandemic time, 70 million's good, 80 million's good." But then here comes Spider-Man proving that if you have the right IP and you do the movie well enough, people are going to keep going. I mean, people are. I mean, I'm going to see it for a third time tomorrow.
You're
'Cause I've been going
you're
with
going to help
multiple
it
family.
be,
You
push it
lucky
over
dog.
Avatar.
Everybody, yeah, we're gonna beat Avatar.
It would
yeah.
be funny if 2 MCU movies ended up dethroning that movie twice,
They'll
but
just
then they'll
release it
re-release it.
again.
Oh, yeah.
Screw Disney.
Yeah.
They own both.
I know that's Disney owns it all anyway.
I feel like it's oh gosh, John Lovitz in Wedding Singer, and he's like, he's losing his mind, and I'm reaping all the benefits.
Yeah. That's Disney. It's like, no matter what we do, we reap the benefits.
Yep.
But I mean, it really was a return to theaters, I think, this year. I mean, it had to be. I mean, otherwise it was going to be the death of the theater.
And I really hope it continues. I hope people can see this and see how well Spider-Man's doing and realize, look, if we release our movies, people will, and there's enough interest in them, people are going to see them.
Yeah.
Well, and I think we saw that with the slate that has released in the last 2 months.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had nothing but huge releases. And ultimately, that has meant that, look, if you put the content out there, I mean, we were just talking about Matrix Resurrections and how if you were to put it ahead of the release schedule at the end of the year, you might have gotten a bigger box office run. Mm-hmm. You might have gotten those stellar, huge releases that you were expecting to have, or huge release numbers. But unfortunately, it's like everybody wanted to cram it in, thinking, oh, the holiday season, by the end of the year, will definitely be beyond this COVID nonsense. And technically we were until a month ago when boom, 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 Omicron pops up. Yep. And now all of a sudden everybody's starting to kind of mince in fear again. Yeah. And it just goes to show you that throughout this year, as long as the theaters were willing to stay open, which they were, but production companies had to be willing to put their films in the theaters. Mm-hmm. And if they did, people showed up. People were willing to go back.
Yep.
Another thing that happened this year, AMC still sucks. I just want to throw that out there.
They do.
Well, our theater sucks.
True.
I can't. I mean, that's the thing. I really feel like maybe if you go to a different theater, you might have a completely different experience. Unfortunately, we only have one AMC in Louisville. I think the next closest AMC is literally in Newport, Kentucky, which is up by Cincinnati. That's the only other one that I really know of. So I'll still say and stand by the Stubbs subscription. I don't think there's anything out there that can touch it. I would like a better theater experience locally here in Louisville.
Well, I think we always rag on it too because we know it used to be the premium spot in town.
It did.
And I went to I ended up, and it was kind of a pain for me, but I mean it was easier for my family. So we did go to Cinemark St. Matthews, and it was so much nicer.
Oh, oh yeah, okay, yeah. Not Blankenbaker.
No. Blankenbaker's that's a so I forget what those are called, but it's not a Cinemark theater. Blankenbaker's not.
Is that a rave?
No, it was a new
Apex.
It's something like
Apex
that.
Apex is
Apex,
Baxter Avenue.
Yeah,
that's Apex.
Blankenbaker is the one I hear everybody say is the best.
Not Tinseltown.
Well, that one started Tinseltown Cinemark.
Okay,
St. Matthews, Preston, and Tinseltown are all Cinemark.
Oh, you're talking about Escape.
Escape.
Yeah.
That was the one that started the reclining seats and the large screen. But now Cinemark has that too. Like every Cinemark theater, St. Matthews, Preston. Nice. And all their screens are massive. Like even the one I went into was from ceiling to floor, and I wasn't in an XD theater. So I was just like, this is nice. Now I will say I felt like the screen wasn't as bright, but then again, it wasn't XD or IMAX, so that could be the difference because I wasn't seeing it IMAX. I was seeing a regular showing. So it wasn't like it.
What about
it looked a little
sound?
Darker. The sound was great.
Okay,
but the film itself looked a little bit darker than watching it in IMAX. But outside of that, it was clean. There were tons of employees everywhere. They had people at the box office where you could buy your tickets, people at the concession stand, people at the booth where you give your tickets, because if you already bought your tickets online like we had, you just go and they scan your phone like you're supposed to be able to do at AMC, but they no longer have anybody there, and you just walk on in. So I was like, this is nice. I just want this for AMC, because I agree with Sean. There's nothing that compares with that deal. And it's like, I would go to Cinemark, but I can't afford that.
That's one of my predictions for next year. One of my predictions for next year is that we're going to get another major theater chain that introduces, again, all contingent upon the theater going, rush. I mean, if people
Movie
don't,
Pass is coming. It's coming back.
I think so. I think it's coming, I think it will be, and I think it will be not as good as Stubbs because that's primarily AMC. But I think Movie Pass will come back and compete on the level of having the ability to go to any theater.
Yeah.
But you only get maybe one movie a week.
Yeah.
But it'll be a $20 premium, and I would pay it to pick
to be able to go to a better theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to vote
If
with
I
my
could,
feet.
yeah.
Yeah.
But right now I'm poor, so I'm gonna stick with. And again, I don't hate AMC as much as I'm just really disappointed in like that how that our local theater is being managed, and I really wish like. That's why we talked about sending like some type of email or something to AMC to be like, hey, do you all know what's going on in your theater here in Louisville? Because
I'm sure they would like to know.
It's dirty, it's trash. The managers don't care. They talk to customers like crap.
Yeah.
And it's like I
You
don't
have
think corporate
5
would
people working there every night.
I don't think corporate would be pleased with that. Like I know like working in like at a customer service industry in restaurants, our corporate wasn't happy with things like that. So
no, I think they would be very pleased with the email of dirty bathroom pics that we've taken.
Yeah.
But no,
like literally last time we went, and I think it had been that way, but I just noticed it last at Spider-Man, but at the Matrix, but the freaking like underneath the bathroom sinks
it's falling apart.
the whole bottom of the sink, like there's a board that is up there to so that you don't see all the plumbing.
Yeah.
And it's just hanging down
Yep.
by one nail.
Yep.
And you can see back behind it, and it's like, I mean, if you didn't notice it, you could probably be hurt. I mean, literally, if that board fell on you.
No, I was gonna
Yeah.
say if it
it's
completely
being-
comes
it's
undone,
being held
It
by
hits-
one nail.
yes, hit
Like,
somebody in the
it's-
leg.
I'll milk
yeah.
it for all it's worth. Like, oh, it hit me.
Sue 'em. We'll
Free
own
movies
AMC.
forever.
Free stubs.
Be Red Moon
I mean,
Theater.
they've
That's
had
right.
a black garbage bag over that one urinal for a year now. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
It's
disgusting.
It hasn't been fixed at all,
Yeah.
and it just sits. And especially when you have it right outside IMAX, which is usually packed.
But you can tell they don't clean in there. There's always piss all over everything.
yeah,
yeah.
Which is sad, anyways, because it's like, come on, guys. We know the place is dirty, but you don't have to pee on the toilets.
But I do want to kind of bring up what we have to look forward to on the back end. And I don't know if you all have any other predictions, but
I pulled up the link.
Yeah,
it
go
bothers
ahead.
me that it's not in order of release. Like they don't have the release.
No,
dates.
I
But
did
it's
that
okay.
for a specific reason because I didn't really want to go
Focus on-
verbatim per
yeah,
month.
month.
I just wanted to go with the
well, that was
higher
the thing
main
is 'cause
releases,
it's trying to pull through, but some of them,
like the bigger releases that are coming.
like
out.
honestly, like the first one that pops up when I link it is the sequel to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, like Across the Spider-Verse,
Spider-Verse.
part 1, and I am looking forward to that. I thought the first one was good, and I liked some of the things I've seen in the trailer, like leading in this one. So, I mean, that's another Spider-Man property that has the potential to be. I mean, I don't think it's going to be as big as No Way Home, but the first one was popular. Yeah. Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah, you got Wakanda Forever. Finally, Avatar 2
I'm
is
waiting.
coming
We'll
out.
see.
Yeah, I know.
we'll see.
Is it going to get pushed back again?
Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I'm looking forward to. 'cause,
We've already
I
mentioned
do
it.
love Doctor Strange. I'm
Yeah.
hoping they knock that one out of the park.
We've already mentioned it, but the Batman coming out. Mission Impossible 7. That ain't coming out. That can't be
It
coming
says
out.
it's in post production.
I don't see that one coming out. I
don't-
think that's going to be a miss. The Flash
Some
coming
of them,
out.
Some of them I think will be misses.
Black
but-
Adam. Forgot The Rock.
Now, see, I
Hey,
think
don't
that might
skip
be.
Aquaman because I'm looking forward to that.
I did skip that one.
Oh man, yeah, the Aquaman sequel I'd like to see. Black Adam's another one that I don't feel like they're far. Even though it says post production, I didn't even think they had really. I think they had just started filming, so I don't know.
We got Jurassic World
World.
Dominion.
It's completed. it's been done for like 2
complete.
years
Yeah, I
now.
know. Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets
Yeah.
of Dumbledore.
I'm not looking forward to that at all.
Halloween Ends. I'm looking forward to that.
Well, I'm hoping.
I am.
I'm looking
for
forward
a
to
high
it,
note,
but I'm
hopefully.
hoping. Yeah, we're hoping.
Morbius.
I'm not really. I'm curious, but I'm not really looking forward to that.
Of course, you got Uncharted.
Again, I'm curious, but I'm not really looking
know.
forward to that.
Sonic, yeah.
Sonic,
Sonic?
I'm looking forward to.
Minecraft. They're really doing a Minecraft movie.
Who knows? It's
No
in
doubt.
pre-production. It's
Yeah.
not coming out next year either.
The Lego Batman movie. That'll be big for the
So they got
kiddos.
Untitled Hobbs and Shaw sequel announced. Like that's not.
Yeah,
going
that's not
anywhere.
coming out. Cleopatra with that's in pre-production though.
I
That'll
have
come
heard
out.
about that one. I'd see it. It's got Gal Gadot.
I mainly just want to focus on the ones. Ambulance. You know.
I don't know anything about that one.
Yeah, you do. We've seen the trailer like.
Oh,
50 times.
Michael Bay.
Jake
Yeah.
Gyllenhaal, yeah.
I don't care about that one.
What else we got?
Sesame Street.
Yep.
I do want to check that
Knives Out 2. That'll be.
out. I do want to see Knives Out 2 and Scream. I see that on there.
I'm just going down. These are based on rankings.
Hokey
apparently.
Pokey. Hocus
Yeah.
Pocus 2. That's
Yep,
one
Hocus
that
Pocus 2.
I'm also kind of just like, we'll see. I want it to be good, but I don't trust Disney anymore.
Now, see, I didn't know that. Oh gosh, Robert Downey Jr. was coming back for a third Sherlock Holmes. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they've been working on that for years. It's just been in development hell, and I think they're finally working it out.
I mean, but just based on those right there. Oh, and
Yeah.
even Top Gun. We still have Top Gun Maverick
Gun.
Yeah.
coming out.
Yep.
Yeah.
That one's been postponed
Another
forever.
Creed film.
Creed's filming. I don't know if it'll hit 2022, but I would see that, definitely.
One that I'm definitely looking forward to. The
Legally Blonde
Unbearable
3.
Weight of Massive Talent
Huh.
with good old Nicolas Cage
I
playing
do,
himself.
I do want to see that.
Yes.
I absolutely want to see that.
We saw the trailer for that attached to Matrix.
Matrix, yeah.
And yeah, that definitely looked
well,
hilarious.
and Martin Scorsese's next film, Killers of the Flower Moon. That's
yeah,
supposed to come out.
that's gonna be a
so-
Netflix original.
And I do wanna
Moonfall.
see that.
Moonfall's coming.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh, it's
boy.
fallen. But I mean, just that list alone, right there, we have so many a slate and a slew of movies coming out just next
Oh,
year that are mentioned.
Noticed a lot of video game movies.
Yeah.
The
Like,
Division
Like I just
was
even
on
saw
there.
The Division too. That's,
I don't even know anything about that.
I don't either.
I was just gonna say I forgot because it got pushed back. It was supposed to release in October, but Jackass Forever. I do want to see that too.
Gosh sakes,
Yeah.
man, that's another one that I'm just like, come out with it already.
Yeah, what's the point of holding that back?
There's
That's a
none.
niche market.
No,
Like
yeah.
there's
I'm gonna be honest with you. I probably won't go see that.
Not anymore. I will, depending on when it
it
releases.
depends.
I've never seen any of the other ones. I have no intention
I
of
like
seeing that.
Jackass.
They're
They're
funny.
hilarious. I would go see it, but again, it depends on what comes out around it.
I'm
If
just
there's a
glad
bigger
they
release-
finally started pulling the trailers for a lot of these films
Yes.
because so many were postponed.
I don't know. Extraction 2, he dies at the end of the first one.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen, it's been out for 2 years. If you haven't seen it, he plainly dies.
It
at
may
the end of that
be
movie.
a prequel.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Who knows?
We'll see.
Who knows?
Then
Maybe it's about somebody
It can't
else.
be Extraction 2 then. If it's a prequel, it's got to be Extraction something else.
I'll go see the Bob's Burgers movie. I love that show.
I mean, but the thing is there's a slew of movies that are
Yeah.
still coming out
Got
that we
Enola
all have to
Holmes.
look forward to. What is it?
Enola Holmes 2.
Oh.
I don't care about that. I just wanted
The
to throw
first
it
one
out
was
there.
good.
Yeah.
It was worthwhile.
It
It was
was
worth a
okay.
watch, I would say.
I didn't think it was bad, but I didn't think it was great.
No, not at all. But I mean, it's worth it.
The Northman from
Yeah.
Robert Eggers.
That does look good.
Yeah, I would say that one definitely.
There's a new
piqued
Downton
my
Abbey
interest.
movie coming too.
All right, we're done. We're done.
just
We
saying-
keep
wait a
going.
minute. You got to say Lightyear.
Rick Singleton.
Lightyear's
Oh,
gonna
I
be a
did.
big
I
one.
did. I forgot to mention that one.
That will be a big one.
That will be a big kid movie.
Oh, and the Little Shop of Horrors remake.
See, but they don't even have 2022 next to the.
It says pre-production, so maybe that one's not it.
See, yeah, I don't think that one's.
Well, they're
coming next
listed
year.
under 20, so I don't know
Yeah.
anymore. Okay.
Well, because everything's been pushed back. They were probably
I don't
originally
know.
slated there. But alrighty, guys, let's move on. That was our headline section. Just wanted to wrap up what the year was.
Well, let
to
me ask you
us.
this, just real
Yeah,
quick.
go ahead.
Let's just say 3 movies. What was the best 3 movies you've seen in 2021?
Good question.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me think on it. Nightmare Alley.
Yeah,
That one I
was-
know off the top of my hand.
That was actually- that was a
I
really
think
good
that
movie.
was probably
I
the
haven't
best
seen
movie.
that.
I think that's the best one I've seen all year. Honestly,
Wow. I wouldn't say that, but it
I
was
don't know,
up there.
What would you say was better?
Spider-Man.
Really?
No, it wasn't. But I mean, just in my, it
can't-
got me in my gut.
I haven't
know.
seen Nightmare Alley, but like for me, it's hands down. It's Spider-Man, Ghostbusters, and Dune.
Okay.
3
Ghostbusters is
best
on
movies
there.
I've seen
Yeah.
this movie. or this year.
Gosh, I have to think back to the.
I want to know what your number one movie
I've
is.
watched Dune. I can't even. I've lost count of how many times I've watched Dune.
Really?
It's ridiculous. I freaking love that movie.
Are you serious? You
I
love it
cannot-
that much?
I love it.
Good.
I've watched it at least 10 times.
Is that your number one?
It's I wouldn't say like it's not the one that hit me in every spot the right way like Spider-Man did
Yeah.
and Ghostbusters did, but it's the 3rd best movie I saw this year, and it's the one that for some reason I just keep going back to. Now when Spider-Man's available, I'll probably watch the hell out of that movie.
Yeah.
When I can actually see it again. But
I've already watched.
and Ghostbusters
been
is,
watching
Yeah.
the hell out of
Ghostbusters
it.
comes out next week on digital and,
That
and
might
Blu-ray.
be Nightmare
I
Alley.
will be watching
Spider-Man
that.
and Ghostbusters. I'd have to think on that, but that might be my top 3. Dune would be close.
Definitely
in there,
Nightmare
though.
Alley, Spider-Man.
I do want to see that.
I'm
yeah.
partly putting Spider-Man on there just because of again the nostalgia rush and just the ultimate feel of being in a theater filled with people.
Yeah.
So maybe not just the movie, but the experience.
the whole thing in
Yeah.
general. Yeah.
That-
French
that-
Dispatch, your favorite movie of the year?
It was one. It was up there, but it wasn't one of my
I still
favorites.
haven't
no,
seen that. I've
it was
got
a good
that-
movie.
I've got it downloaded. I haven't
Then what
seen it.
movie's
Yeah.
better than Nightmare Alley?
I don't know. I
wanna
can't
know.
remember all of them.
That's what I'm
I'm
saying.
in the same boat. I've
I've
got
not
to
seen
go back
very
through
many
the
good
list.
movies this year, and honestly, Dune, Spider-Man, Ghostbusters, and Nightmare Alley, and
No,
French
I
Dispatch
put-
are the only 5 I thought were
I
really
put
bad.
Ghostbusters ahead of Dune,
Yeah, I didn't say that. Yeah.
Spider-Man, and Nightmare Alley.
See.
I'm gonna.
So
I'm gonna
we're
pick
pretty
those.
close.
We
though.
are.
At
We
least two of the movies we all agree on.
Ghostbusters,
Now,
Spider-Man.
one
and
that I
then,
still
yeah.
haven't
Well,
seen
he hasn't
this
seen
year.
Nightmare Alley yet,
Yeah, I
so
haven't
you
seen
can't
it.
really
I
judge
might,
on that
I
one.
might, yeah.
One that I haven't seen this year that I really want to is Belfast.
That's true.
I haven't seen that
And
yet
that
either.
one technically
Well,
doesn't release till the
I'm
beginning
only
of
counting
the
the
year.
ones I've seen. That's maybe Belfast is better than Nightmare Alley, but I can't count it. I ain't seen it.
True.
Yeah.
But by this time last year, I had seen Sound of Metal.
I'm just trying to think.
and that
Yeah,
was a great
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
I'm just trying to think, like, as far as especially all the ones that are like getting Oscar buzz. It's like no to House of Gucci. It's not getting nothing. Don't Look Up's definitely not getting anything.
Oh, my God.
Sean, tell us about that. I think we've kind of
Well,
gone
we'll
over-
do that after our
if we have
relationship
time.
segments.
If we have
yeah,
time.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
But let's move on into that. Let's talk about our relationships.
yeah, go for it.
What we're gonna do in the new year.
Let me tell you about the birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees and the moon up above and a thing called love.
Oh, he's putting them back on.
Not now.
You're not now
You
because I said
announced
it.
it. You announced. No, I was
Okay.
trying to see if there's just not really a way to offset them and it still fit on your head. I was trying to figure that out because it just you can't wear it.
You can be
Sideways.
antlers.
Ooh, I like that.
Kind of can, I guess.
You can be the Wendigo.
Didn't that come out this year?
Yeah,
It was
but
Antlers
stupid.
came out. Yeah,
Sean said it was stupid and it didn't get good reviews.
yeah
so
that's what I heard.
I'm not sure I want to see
He's
it
having a
anymore.
hard time over there.
I'm not sure I want to see it anymore.
Oh, you should.
Oh, I
don't
didn't
take
see.
my
I didn't
word
see
for it.
Pig. I wanted to see Pig.
I haven't seen
And
that.
I haven't
yet
seen
either.
that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Lamb. I
heard-
still want to watch Lamb.
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
That's another weird one.
I heard
Yeah.
that's a real twisted one.
I
that's
don't
twisted.
know.
Yep.
Yeah. I tell you, one of the worst movies I saw a year was Green Knight. That was terrible.
Yeah, that one was bad.
was
We can agree on
god-awful.
that. That was a terrible freaking movie.
But all right, relationship segment.
Yeah.
The question: how do you plan on improving your relationships in the new year?
I feel like we've done this before.
We have not.
I
I
think
promise.
we have discussed like relate, but not.
We always
I thi-
do.
yeah.
I
How
mean,
to
'cause
improve
it-
relationships, but I don't know if it was in the new year.
Yeah, that's right. It's
Yeah.
making conscious efforts.
He's recycling in new ways.
It's-
If you reword it, it's different.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's what our culture's good at.
I'm pretty sure the last time we had this, we all said we would want to improve our relationship with God. I
don't
specifically remember us
I don't
having
remember
this conversation.
that.
before.
I don't remember.
I remember
that
talking
at all.
about relationships.
Maybe
with
we
God,
had that
but
off
not-
mic or
Yeah,
off
because
camera.
Brandon said he wanted to do better at answering text messages and that kind of stuff.
No, I have said that.
This was back.
I
This
have
was,
said that.
this was back when that was an issue. It's not an issue anymore.
It's not.
No,
See, now we
he-
have to
he-
have
he
new
actually did it.
motivation.
But yeah,
But
I
again-
just think it was a different question that just is going to invoke some of the same
Same
answers.
answers.
Yeah.
yeah.
well,
Yeah.
if that depends if you haven't made any improvements in general.
I have.
Well, I mean, I have different things that I was thinking about. As,
I never
as
do
far
my New
as,
Year's resolution.
and it's funny because mine was in a different mindset of like, it does go along with improving relationships, but it's also kind of a little bit more me centric in the sense that I'm a people pleaser and I like to try to make everybody happy, but then it can also cause problems because you can't accommodate everybody, and that's something that I'm learning to just do, but like being like, no, can't do that, because ultimately, if you tell everybody yes, something's going to conflict, and then it makes it worse. And like I've run into that too many times, and I'm like, can't please everybody. Just gonna have to deal with it, Keith. Like, and that's something as far as doing better with relationships in the future, because I mean it does improve relationships by not disappointing people because you're trying to please everybody. So
Agreed.
you know,
Nice.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Sean, what about you?
had to fix my hair.
That's a tough one. Because I don't know. I think well,
Well,
there's always room for improvement in almost everything we do, including every relationship we have.
what about with your wife?
I would say no, we're good. No, yeah, of course there's room for improvement there. I think I don't know. You're putting me on the spot. I haven't had time to think.
See,
I don't
it
know.
is a good question.
It's a good question.
It
I
is.
mean, it's always a good question because we're always
Well, you're
lacking.
you're giving
our
yourself a check.
relationships.
It's a self-evaluation. It's like, okay, what have I improved on, but what have I still lacking that I can improve better on?
Yeah,
Love.
yeah.
I'm Santa now.
Santa's right in front of your face.
I know.
Wow.
I'm
yeah.
Santa.
and freaking Jack Frost is on both sides of you. Well, I'll be honest. Straight up, this is gonna sound kind of cocky.
Oh man, wouldn't you not sound arrogant?
Thanks. But no, I mean, I've talked about it kind of in passing to you all in private, but it's obviously going to become a little bit more of a focal point. I'll try not to bore everybody on the podcast whenever advances happen throughout the year, but obviously my plan would be to find a Mrs. Davidson at some point, and I'm going to be proactively looking in the new year.
Well, we're aware.
You think you'll lock that down in 2022?
I really
He's gonna get married. He's gonna find her,
That's
date
what
her,
I'm
and
saying.
marry her. in
That's
1 year.
everything.
Okay, I won't say married, but I do think engaged.
Oh, by the end of
This
this year?
Yeah, I'm dead serious.
Wow.
Wow.
Again, I know, and I'm saying that in a sense of it could sound cocky, but look,
I don't think it
here's the
sounds
thing.
cocky. I just don't think it sounds realistic.
Well, but here's
It
the
could.
thing.
I mean, if you really
Yeah.
meet somebody and hit it off and you truly fall in love, yeah, absolutely.
Well, look, I'm 31 years old.
Yeah.
I'll be 32 in June.
Yep.
If I meet somebody on a dating app, it's not going to be what's your favorite color and what do you like to do for fun.
Yeah.
It's gonna be, do you wanna get married?
Yeah. Are you looking for marriage? Do you want to have kids? Are you a Christian? Are you conservative?
Yeah.
If you check those boxes, let's go on a couple dates, see if we have fun together, if our personalities click. If they don't, hey, great, nice to meet you. Hope you have a wonderful life. Move on to the next one. And I hate to sound like speedy like that, but it's like as you get older, your idea and perception of searching for the right one or you pretty much have nailed down who you would want for a partner.
Yeah.
And it gets kind of ridiculous when I look back at like how many years this has been, I guess, I don't want to say a struggle. It's been a constant, pang of a desire to want that.
Yeah.
And it's like you get to an age where you're like, okay, if you really want it, you got to put it as a priority.
Yeah.
Make an
And
effort.
and if you don't make an effort, well, then how can you sit here and she's not going to fall out of the sky. So in my mind, it's like gone through
In
what
the
I
future,
have.
You could just build one.
That's true.
Yeah.
Matrix Resurrections taught me that. I can free her mind.
You can order one from Russia.
Oh, well, those have always been around. But they have gotten
Yeah.
better, I've heard.
Well,
They
now
don't-
they don't try to kill you.
Well, they don't try to ask you straight up for your money right away. They give you a little bit of pleasantries before they do.
Well,
So there's that route.
You know about sex?
she's a good cook. Cooks good food.
I'm just thinking of Cousin Eddie. Ugly as sin, but a hell of a good cook.
Hell of a good cook.
But no, it's just, I mean, why beat around the bush? I definitely have some personal goals in terms of like building my own self-confidence of trying to get fit, get my weight back in shape. I let that go, gain the COVID 50. So I've been out of shape for the last couple years and I'm tired of feeling like a schlump. And, it's like, okay, I want to actually make some improvements in my own, self-interest, but also to hopefully make myself appealing to someone out there who would want to settle down as well and is looking for the same thing. And so, I definitely plan on making it a priority to the extent that if I'm not engaged by the end of the year, I say that only because I do really believe and hope that I'll be in a serious relationship that is easily, definitely on that path. So that's kind of
No,
my...
I think that's fair. That's a good one.
There
That's a
you
good
go.
goal. Yeah.
And I've always heard those, what are those weird, cheesy, like, motivation talks where they're like, if you write it down and you put it away in a drawer and you get back a year later, you'll be amazed at what you've accomplished on that list. Like, it's one of those things where I'm like, if I say I'm going to get engaged, I'm probably going to be at least in a relationship with somebody that I want to marry.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
So it's thinking...
Just shoot for the whole thing. It's like I want to
Yeah.
be married and divorced by 2020. that way you know you're at least halfway there.
It's like I want 3 kids by the end of the year.
Well, hey,
That's not a realistic goal.
nowadays
That's my
you,
truth.
they
Now,
gotta be,
nowadays
you
they
know,
might come with kids, so you might get
I
that.
just say, well, I mean, who says nowadays you don't have to be married? It doesn't have to be the same mom. You could have 3 kids by the end of the year.
That's true.
You better get started pretty soon.
Just find you 3 random people on
got about
Bumble
3
or
months to
Tumblr
get
or
started
whatever
on that.
you're using.
I just want a family. what was that? What was that Mormon
But no child
show?
support.
Gosh,
I know what you're
Sister Wives.
Yes, Sister
And
Wives.
Sister Wives, he's on there, and I remember it's like the opening of the show,
I've never
and
seen
they
it.
say the quotes of these people, and literally the husband, and he says, "I don't think love should be divided but multiplied." And I'm like, "You son of a bitch!" It's like, how many dicks can I get in a woman?
Oh my God.
I'm just saying, that's what his prerogative is. It's so gross. Alrighty. I think that does it for this
Now that-
episode.
see, that's
Wait,
just-
did you come up with one, Sean? I don't want to
Gosh, you're
overshadow
putting me-
you.
No, I really couldn't. I need to improve every relationship. I mean, it really is. One thing I'll say, and I don't really know how this goes into relationships, but well, it does. I want to make new relationships with people at our new church.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of people like in my Sunday school / Bible study that they're people that I would want to hang out with, but haven't done that yet. So I'd like to try to like further those a little bit. My problem is I like to go and then I just don't. I don't know. They're kind of they've known each other for a long time.
It's hard to get that
So it's
in.
kind of hard to get in.
There's it's almost like, I mean,
Yeah.
and churches are like that. They kind of get clicky.
Yeah, but they're not the kind of people that wouldn't let you be a part of that
Right.
group. It's
making an effort.
It's my part to make an effort to do that.
Very well.
Excuse me.
Man. That's it. That sums it up right there. That's our last episode of the year, guys, on
Yeah.
the Red Moon Podcast. How'd you feel about it? I love it. That's beautiful. Fantastic. Well, you know what you can always do?
Mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore.
Just push them all.
Wow.
Are you not entertained?
I thought he was going to try to push them all.
At the same time,
Try it.
I
I
will.
don't know what
think it
it'll do.
works.
I don't think it works.
I will
either.
say, with a lot of the things that we've discussed about our future with Red Moon,
yeah.
2022 is gonna, say, hold my beer.
Oh, he's holding me
it's
to
gonna be
it.
good.
We can
Let's
we
do
can
it.
always tease things. That's what we're good at.
Yeah.
You got to deliver.
I am all about it.
Stand and deliver. It's a great classical unconventional Christmas film, according to Amazon, or whatever.
It did
Christmas
pop
film?
up there. Yeah.
We were scrolling through
The one
stuff,
with
and they had-
Edward James Almos, or whatever.
Yeah,
his
yeah.
name? Whatever his name is.
They had like unconventional Christmas movies, and the
Wow.
most random stuff was on that. None of them
I
had
had
anything.
no idea that was a Christmas.
It's
movie.
not. None of them
no.
were.
It
were
has
just
nothing to do with
They were just
Christmas.
all feel good movies,
Yeah.
and it was just funny because it's like here's some unconventional.
I will-
Christmas
Well, when we
movies.
first went to, they actually had on there nice and naughty.
yeah,
And like you go to the naughty and there's literally there's non-existent ones.
Yeah.
Because obviously
had,
it's
like,
like
Bad Santa,
most
and that
Christmas
was it.
films are going to be happy,
Yeah.
go lucky. So then
Yeah.
you go to the nice and then they're interspersed with like just feel good movies.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like none
It
of
was
these
just-
are Christmas.
It was so random. We were laughing. I don't remember. I don't think it was Amazon. I forget what streaming service, but it was just.
I think it was HBO.
maybe been
I think it was
HBO Max.
HBO.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. But as always, we already mentioned it in the show, but right there at the bottom of your screen, always available to email us, rmpodcast@redmoonproductions.com. How about that, guys?
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
You know what that email is?
RMPodcast@redmoonproductions.com.
Wow, that was beautiful.
Nice.
I couldn't say it again that
I
well.
ended that as a question. It was
That's
like-
it.
There was a question.
I think that's the answer.
I think Keith can sum it up too.
Question
we've said
and
it
an
twice.
answer.
Do you want me to say it a third time?
Thrice.
They say, yeah, thrice is the charm. RMPodcast@redmoonproductions.com.
That was definitive right there.
Yep.
And also at the bottom of your screen, like, share, subscribe. Follow us on all of our social media platforms, Red Moon Book, Red Moon Tweet, Red Moon Pics, and just search for Red Moon Productions on YouTube. We appreciate all the love. Thank you all so much every single week for tuning in here on the Red Moon Podcast. We appreciate every single one of your all's love and reviews. And they're trying to upset my dog.
She knows
now.
when it's the end.
She
every
does
time.
every week. Alrighty, guys, that's going to do it for this week's episode. And until next year, we will see you here on the Red Moon Podcast. Until then, I'm one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Sean Sebastian.
and she's going nuts. Oh, gosh.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. For more reviews, previous podcast shows, and everything Red Moon, visit our website, redmoonproductions.com. You can also like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for Red Moon Productions, LLC. We'll see you at the movies.